Hey, trucked up guys and gals, we've all seen them. Little poorly developed embryonic mini farts that look like they were misassembled because someone didn't read the IKEA instructions properly. Pretending to be trucks. Little right-hand drive Japanese K auto nuggets with beds. Built back in the 1980s and 90s and imported to North America, scooting around on farms and uses little delivery trucks and sometimes even acting as peppy little off-road trinkets, and doing crazy stuff like some kind of steroidal golf cart, all while making really poor left-hand turn decisions in intersections by questionably skilled left-hand drivers trying to be clicky. And so often, what we hear from a farmer, contractor, or local vendor when one of these little truck dwarf mutations drives by is, "Ooh, I want one of those things." In fact, they're often cited as one of the most desirable truck segments that isn't being filled. I still have a lot of trouble saying truck segment when I look at these little four-wheel midgets. But anyway, that's amplified further when it comes to EVs because, hey, none of these things were electrified back in the day. All of these things were built purposely to be under 600cc mini motors, like a motorbike, which is where the Japanese designation K, meaning light, came from. I recently did a video on all the reasons why we're not seeing smaller EV trucks driving around. With the bankruptcy of Canoe, our last hope, it seemed, for a compact but capable pure EV pickup was dashed before the first ones ever went into full production. But fear not, because not only are even smaller EV trucks coming to market, many are already on the road, just not in North America, or aren't they? I'm going to deep dive into some of the tiniest and simply ingenious micro EV trucks you've ever imagined in your freaking life and celebrate what some call the ultimate upcoming micro truck. So duck your head, cram yourselves into the cab of these trucklets, and let's get totally trucked up. Just before we jump in, I've got exciting news about the launch of 2 new segments on my channel. And they're right around the corner, already lined up, featuring trucked up folk out in the wild with their EV trucks doing amazing things one might not expect, and roping in other folk who think EV trucks are outright stupid and getting them to do their stuff in an EV truck anyway. But, well, here's the thing. I'm freaking broke. And to get these things produced and to continue to cover the cost of travel and accommodations when I'm doing it, I need my trucked up peeps to help me along if they can. My new merchandise store is now live. I'm offering a lot more stuff, and I'm offering 25% off the whole damn store, the whole kit and caboodle, as a much needed fundraiser right now. Look at these names. Look at these superheroes right here who have ensured that I had a GoPro named Tara, an ND filter named Lionel, and these batteries and their chargers, lovingly named James. That's right. And see this? This is me pretending to be athletic and outdoorsy, posing next to a raging torrent in my sexy and manly trucked up t-shirt. If you send me pics wearing whatever you bought, aprons or underwear, maybe not the underwear, I'll make you famous by posting your striking physique in an upcoming video. But let's get back to why you're here, which is trucklets. There's actually a very cute little fleet of these micro trucks already out there, but only a rare few have made their way to our shores. Oh sure, you can likely get your paws on any of these vehicles via an importer, but expect to pay a crap pile in tariffs and shipping costs to do it. But the idea of something so compact and golf cart-like being able to do like truck things, well, that proves to be true in a whole slew of utilitarian applications in a large portion of the rest of the world. One of the biggest reasons we don't have these things driving around here is another slew of safety and compliance regulations along with crippling tariffs. I did a video on that, which I'll provide a link to below. That stops this from ever happening. You're not going to also like slap some highway plates on these puppies anytime soon. And you'll see another very valid reason why in a moment. Europe is already perplexed with the size and questionable reasoning behind the North American pickup truck infatuation. But even they will look at some of these and go, as we sneak upon these in the European continent, the trucklet does seem somewhat underdeveloped, as if this particular species is still in the larva stage. Take the WuZheng group in China, for example. WuZheng, Sengwing, Wingzing, WuZheng, WuZheng group in China. Makers of these three-wheeled short-haul mini trucks. Yeah, you heard that right. I know. You never thought in your life you'd hear three-wheel and truck in the same sentence, did you? Well, stick around on my channel, there's all kinds of surprises. These are basically a cross between, I don't know, like a Mattel or whatever they're called, the pedal-powered big wheels, and Kitty's pull wagon, but somehow still do what trucks are meant to do, truck things. Their entire function is simply to work all day. Built for farms, industry, forestry, delivery, and municipal functions, these funky freaks of functionality are highly economical, sturdy, and shockingly capable. The first thing I thought of when I saw these little three-wheel contraptions was, if you take a tight turn, you're just going to tip over and die. But no, the low weight distribution plays a huge factor in offsetting this. They even have their own patented anti-tip technology in the enclosed cab-forward 3MX EV model, making these little tricycle farts incredibly stable in turns. And this isn't just some questionable startup either. WuZheng Group was founded in 1961 and has emerged as a leader in China's agricultural and commercial vehicle industry and is rapidly expanding its global presence. Being a privately owned operation, they can turn on a dime, like literally. These things have a stupid freaking turning radius. Anyway, WuZheng also makes tractors, other agricultural machinery, cargo transport, as well as vehicles for sanitation and municipal service and all that kind of stuff. Just because you can't pop down to your local WuZheng dealer in Wyoming doesn't mean these trucks aren't making inroads all over the world. WuZheng already has established distribution networks in 60 frickin' countries worldwide. But the shocker is what these pea-sized pickups are going for. They're priced top end here, okay? $13,000 US for the 3MX EV F30, and it's like a heavy-duty enclosed cab model, so it's more about hefty weights rather than range. And then between, I can't even say this seriously, $2,500 and $3,500 US for the base farm class trikes. That just blows my freaking mind, especially when we look at what we get for the buck. The specs are, well, they're almost funny. but no one's laughing with the amount of work these little things can do. How about between 500 kilograms all the way up to 1,500 kilograms of payload? That's nothing to sneeze at, with a range up to, well, only about 100 kilometers. You're not going to be doing a Route 66 tour, but that's not what they're for. How can you go wrong with a dump truck bed thing that's got like a tipping feature? I mean, these little trikes, dump trucks, right? Okay, the whole thing might tip over and kill you if you're a schmuck, but I mean, good luck trying to lift it if it's full. But hey, it's a feature. And it's a true 6-foot bed with full drop-down sides and tailgate. It's also highly efficient, offering as low as 8 kilowatt hours used per 100 kilometers. That's if it's empty. And 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers on a full load, which is good because you have a little baby motors. Like they're like 1.5 kilowatt in the M5 trike and 3 kilowatt in that enclosed F30 cab. And a battery pack that's well, it's not much bigger than a handful of smartphones and a really big laptop. At a frugal 72 volt, 150 amp hours, which by using our trusty mathematical formula, which I don't know it at all, I just Googled it, gives us 10.8 kilowatt hour pack. As I mentioned before, they have an incredibly tight turning radius and the ability to access areas that make them very flexible in an industrial, agricultural, forestry setting, which is why they're so damn popular. But like I mentioned earlier about not slapping highway plates on these go-go truck buggies, well, they're highly limited, as we already know, in range and in speed, and not intended as daily commuters. I mean, they're only able to go 69 kilometers an hour, 42 miles an hour in the light-duty version, and then only like a snail's pace, 40 kilometers an hour, 25 miles an hour in that heavy-duty super pull monster mini trike thing, making these only usable on rural roads, and definitely limited to the roles many side-by-side ATV truck-like things are used for in North America. But if we take one step up from the WuZhengs, we can park our truck butts in a mini, micro, super tiny EV truck produced by the Shandong Dongfeng Dong Kama Vehicle Company Limited. There's a lot of dongs in that. I'm not sure if I got that right, but these ding-dongs actually have 4 wheels, which is like a breakthrough, I guess. The Kama 1600 that we're going to focus on goes a little quicker and a bit farther and hauls a little bit more than the other one, the WuZhengs. The one we'll focus on is the Kama 1600 EW electric cargo truck, which is a spitting image of all those 1990s K trucks that came out of Japan, other than the fact that this little squirt is an electric truck. It has some bigger EV brothers going all the way up to 4-ton payload capacity. And surprisingly, this also comes in a freaking crew cab that seats 6. But we're going to highlight the single cab and the smallest of the bunch just to see what we can get for under $11,000 US. Yeah, that's the price. I know, it's bent. Although it only houses a single 50 kilowatt motor, delivering in the neighborhood of 70 horsepower, it can be equipped as a 4x4 with 2 motors, bringing that up to just shy of 150 horsepower. It also provides a much happier maximum range of 210 kilometers from its 38.64 kilowatt hour battery pack, 3 times the size of the WuZheng thingy. And again, that's expandable for the 4x4 option. That's some decent efficiency for what this thing is. It's a big step up since it's also able to top out at 80 kilometers an hour or 50 miles an hour. What's outstanding with this one though is it's got to be the bed. It's 3,050 millimeters or a whopping 10 feet long with handy fold down side gates as well as a tailgate. And you can put a crap pile of stuff in it because it is rated to 1,500 kilograms or 3,306 pounds, which is far better payload than my Lightning and most full-size light-duty pickups, gas or EV. It's also been rated to push itself up a 20-degree grade, so it can get places for a little fart. Most importantly, unlike the WuZheng that takes several hours to recharge, this overgrown Tonka toy can recharge from 0 to 80% in 30 minutes. That's nice. But not all of these micro, mini, super duper tiny EV trucks are locked out of the American market or require an importer to buy them. Take Cenntro, for example. Cenntro now has established production and assembly at 5 facilities globally, in addition to EV centers in the US, Poland, Germany, Spain, Morocco, and the Dominican Republic. The Cenntro Metro, which is my favorite little truck, it's a light electric commercial truck. It's assembled and distributed from its facility in Ontario, California, not the province of Ontario, Ontario, Canada. We're going to focus on this Metro from their whole lineup at Cenntro, since it best represents this tiny truck segment. The Metro packs a lot for being such a tiny truck that starts at $19,000 and has been on the road. It's been offered for almost a decade now. I think it came out, the first run was in 2017. It can be fitted with a hydraulic bed hopper and set up in a huge range of commercial configurations. What's even more impressive is again having the ability to include a bed of over 9 feet long, 2,859 millimeters. The versatility of this trucklet is truly astounding as a go-to in a commercial urban center. What's more is that Metro, unlike many other mini trucks, is street legal. The other specs are pretty nice as well. It has a payload capacity of 500 kilograms, so 1,100 pounds. That's not bad. And a cargo volume of about 116 cubic feet, or 3.3 cubic meters, and a turning radius equivalent to like the pirouette of a ballerina at 4.2 meters or 165 inches. It's like a little quicker than the Kama 1600 thingy, with a maximum speed of 85 kilometers an hour or 52.8 miles an hour, and has a range of around 200 kilometers or 125 miles on a single charge. What's really nuts is how much businesses are saving by owning these bed-endowed midgets. Metro's low maintenance costs are averaging, since it came out, about 1/6 the cost of a traditional gas vehicle equivalent. But it's not all about China. In fact, one of the best mini truck stories that is doing amazing things, bringing affordable transport to the developing world and beyond, is a German company called EVUM. They've been around since 2017 after spinning off as a company from the Technical University of Munich and started delivering production vehicles of the aCar, which is kind of weird because it's a truck. But they started delivering the aCar truck to customers in 2021. Now, the whole concept behind the aCar was designed to be a very affordable work truck that could be bought for developing countries. They were specifically looking at Africa. In fact, it was tested in Ghana. But unfortunately, those costs have ballooned. from its target price of only 10,000 euros, now coming in around 29,000 euros at production. Now, of course, with the huge crazy things going on with currencies right now, that currently comes in at like $45,000 Canadian, only 31,800 United States dollars. But that's still the biggest leap that we see between the Asian manufacturing sector and the European and North American ones. But what does one get for that money? Well, the aCar is a modular design, similar to the Metro, but even a little bit more versatile in what you can do with it. It can be configured for a multitude of applications. Also like the Metro, it's street legal, but not for highways, being the maximum speed is 70 kilometers an hour or 44 miles per hour compared to the Metro at 85. It has a range of the same, around 200 kilometers or 125 miles. It can haul 1,200 kilograms, so it can take a bigger load than the Metro, and tow 1,000 kilograms. It's not high, but it can do both at the same time. It can tow and haul its maximum at the same time. So for the price, it's not as aggressive on the specs as some of those others for what you're getting for your money. But this thing is not a powerhouse with only 20 kilowatt or 27 horsepower of continuous power and 26 kilowatt or 34 horsepower at peak. Now it does say that it's all-wheel drive, which is better than the Metro. It's like that's only a single motor. It has a 48-volt architecture and provides solar panels on the roof to trickle a little bit back into the truck while it's parked. This thing doesn't even have standard heat. They thought, well, it's going to take too much energy away. They wanted to keep things small. So what they did instead is they have a kerosene tank attached for the interior kerosene heater in the cab. However, with a wider wheelbase and better clearance than the Metro, it can meet some uses that the Metro can't. Unlike most tiny trucks, the EVUM comes with all-wheel drive, and it has a full 6-foot bed, and the option again for a hydraulic dump truck. Sure, a comparable ATV might only cost a few $1,000s more and offer more horsepower and torque. But if it's for work, the cost-saving comparison is really impressive. In fact, all of these tiny work rides save tons of money over any of the gas variants. But what if you could have your cake and eat it too? What if there was a way to get your hands on serious horsepower, torque, towing, hauling, all the numbers that were on par with a full-sized EV truck, provide like a 5-foot bed, but expandable. We'll get to that. Room for 5 adults. And match some of the best range numbers of any EV truck and have the ability to partially recharge itself, all while fitting within the footprint of a Mini Cooper. No, I didn't take mushrooms. Meet the Telo MT1. And by the way, it's an American. It's American. That sounds too southern. It's American. No, that sounded really lame, actually. The prototype has been making the rounds with all the bigwig YouTube influencers. And if it can get to market in its current form, there's going to be a lineup of K-truck aficionados from here to Yokohama to get one of these things. Think about this. It's 4 feet shorter than any other pickup truck on the US market, at an overall length of 3.86 meters or 152 inches, about the same as a 2-door Mini Cooper. But that's not the crazy part. It will handle a payload of somewhere around 907 kilograms or 2,000 pounds and tow 2,994 kilograms or 6,600 pounds and claims a maximum range of 563 kilometers or 350 miles with a charging speed of 250 kilowatt via a NACS outlet, which is fantastic, especially when we consider the battery pack will max out, the biggest one you can get, 106 kilowatt hours, with a smaller variant at 77 kilowatt hours, maximizing volumetric density because it's not trying to break the sound barrier. It's trying to be a reliable work beetle. With that said, it's still a little tiny mini frickin' rocket, estimated at 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour in frickin' 4 seconds. But that doesn't cut into its functionality. At 1,815 kilograms or just over 4,000 pounds, this EV lightweight delivers 10 inches of ground clearance, 2 motors for full-time all-wheel drive, a lot of storage space for such a tiny thing, including a Rivian-inspired gear tunnel. But what's truly amazing is this Honey I Shrunk the Kids mobile has a midgate. I know, right? I mean, that gives you 8 feet for hauling lumber and gear, which I think makes this in line with what we had all hoped for from the canoe truck, but even more compact. The downside? This is the most expensive mini truck out there. It's estimated at $42,000 US for the single motor, $46,000 for the dual, and the long-range battery, well, that's going to suck another $3,980 US out of your pocket. I question whether I should even include this mini truck in this video because we're not anywhere near production, which makes this one step above all the other startups that had big dreams but empty pockets and went the way of the dodo bird. When Motor Trend went to check this thing out, the Telo team had been up all night, still putting the prototype together for them. And as the car magazine noted, this thing has a heaping helping of bugs to deal with before ever getting these things produced. However, this one might actually make it to the finish line. Telo is operating in mean and lean mode. It is going to use Area, a small batch auto manufacturer that can put out small numbers rather than gambling on higher production output that requires exponentially greater investments to fly. Through exploiting readily available off-the-shelf components and outsourcing both production and service maintenance, Telo estimates it can get this cool baby truck that looks like it got left in the dryer too long into the hands of buyers before the end of 2026. And if they can get to 5,000 produced, they'll break even. That is impressive. Fingers crossed. If you love the idea of a smaller EV truck but can't understand why the big three aren't diving in and listening to the growing demand for one, you'll definitely want to check out this video right here. As always, thanks for watching.